Thank you to all my channel members, including my fan appreciation level members and my contributor level members, for helping support the YouTube channel.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Batman Revolution by John Jackson Miller. This is the sequel to the book that came out last year, Batman Resurrection. I read this last year, have a review on the channel for it. I loved it. And so this Batman Revolution has been one of my most anticipated books of the entire year. I've been so excited to read this book ever since it was announced. It was actually announced at the very end of the first book. When you get to the last page is when they announced it. So it was like, oh my goodness, the new book's coming and we have to wait a year for it. So I've been waiting, and I'm not even the biggest Tim Burton Batman fan. You know, I watched Batman 1989 and Returns, and I was like, they're okay. I think that it's more, if you grew up with them, maybe you'll love them more than I did. I didn't think they were a bit terrible. I just was like, okay, it's a different type of Batman than I'm used to. The music was pretty good, though. And but what I love is John Jackson Miller's writing style. He is my favorite media tie-in fiction writer. He's my favorite Star Trek writer. He is my favorite writer that works in other universes, because not only does he tell great stories every time, but he also adds so much depth to them that I just love. And he did that with Resurrection. He does it even more with Revolution. And so in this book, John Jackson Miller has a new villain, and this time in the book, you know who the main villain is going to be. In Batman Resurrection, it was actually a surprise. After the book released, they did some marketing where they revealed it in some articles, and I thought that was not great, because I think the twist of who the villain really is, unless you're like super deep into the Batman lore and like you hear this kind of name, you're going to be like, oh, of course it's this character. But unless you're like the most deep into the Batman lore, this character will be a surprise who the villain is in this one. So go into this one more blind. But for Batman Revolution, it's obvious who the villain is going to be. I mean, just look at the back of the book. It's pretty obvious if you haven't picked it up yet. It's the Riddler, and they revealed it in the marketing and at the end of the last book. So yes, this book is about the Riddler as the main villain, and what John does in this book with the Riddler is nothing short of astounding. He has such a deep, and I mean deep, character journey for the Riddler in this book. His descent into becoming a villain, the way he goes about his journey from trying to take care of his mother, to trying to work hard at his job, to trying to go on his first date. This is a character who has enormous potential and is the kind of character you root for because you want him to succeed. I spent the entire first act or so of the book wanting the Riddler to succeed. I wanted him to do well because he was such a good guy, and I felt so bad for him. He was so downtrodden, and he was this type of every guy that made you think, if he could succeed, I can succeed. And in the back of my mind, I knew he had to turn into a villain at some point in the book. But I spent the whole book saying, maybe he won't, maybe he won't, maybe he won't, because I wanted him to succeed that badly. John did an excellent job of making his character sympathetic. Yet, when his character turns, I understand his turn, but I still disagree with it. John does a tremendous job of presenting a point of view without trying to preach from it. You see the anarchistic / communistic, which you would think would be, kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but you see that end of the spectrum here, and you would think that because we spent so much time empathizing with the villain that we would agree with what they're trying to do. You still obviously understand that that mindset is wrong here, yet it doesn't feel like John is preaching at all. It feels like he's simply portraying it as it is. I know that John actually has, or at least got a degree or started his degree in like communist studies, so he knows a lot about how communism works and stuff, and there's some hints of his degree in here, and I thought they were sprinkled in beautifully, as they usually are. And, this isn't the first time he's really tried to make us empathize with a villain. In his Batman Resurrection book, you really empathized with the villain. Even in Kenobi, you empathize with the Tusken Raiders. And so John is just an excellent writer of villains in this way. Even in his Star Trek trilogy, Prey, you understand the villains in those books. You do not agree with them whatsoever. This is a book where he really threaded the line and really did a good job of trying to make you feel like you both empathize with the character, empathize with what they want to do, and even agree with their desires, but disagree with the methods that they get there with. I just thought he just wrote the character of Norman Plinkett, the Riddler, so well. Everything from his mom's backstory and his front story, what happens to him in the main book, oh, so well written. And yes, it's a bit comic booky in a few ways, but it is in all the best ways, because it fits. That's what's so great about John's writing. It fits the medium. This is supposed to be a Tim Burton novel, and so, or at least a Tim Burton verse, Batman verse, Michael Keaton verse, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to be set in that universe. If for the context, you have the first movie, and then you have these two books, and then you have the second movie, Batman Returns. And so just the way that he fits everything in just so well. And I am not the world's biggest Batman fan when it comes to all of the side characters, and I don't know all the villains or the whole Bat family or the whole, Arkham Asylum group. I don't know all the characters. And so there are some characters that show up that even I know are obscure. One in particular, and of course I won't spoil it, I'll just say, if you've played the Lego video games, you know that you can unlock or play against a bunch of the minor Batman characters, especially in, I think it was like the original DS Lego game. Anyway, one of those really obscure characters shows up in here and is kind of a minor villain. And I was like, that is so cool, because it fits, it makes sense from the Burton Batman verse, and also just makes sense for this novel, and was just fantastically written. So I loved that. There's a lot of minor characters that show up. Because it's set right before Batman Returns, obviously you have Matt Schreck, Christopher Walken's character. You also have Selena Kyle, the Catwoman before she becomes Catwoman in this book. And so, of course, it meshes everything so well. The first book was an excellent, bridge book that takes place immediately after the first movie, whereas this book is a excellent prequel to the Batman Returns. That's how I would view these: a sequel and a prequel. Although you know what I mean. Also, this book just has, it doesn't just have incredible themes, it has incredible pacing, and this is a chunky book. You may not be able to tell because of the way they bound it together, but this book is John Jackson Miller's longest book by far. By far. His previous longest book was, I believe, Resurrection, which was like 420 pages, and with, standard size font. This is over 500 pages, by far his longest novel, and he left it all in the field, definitely. Sadly, this is the final book in this series. It was announced in the marketing for this that we would only be getting the 2 books. We got Batman Resurrection, Batman Revolution. There will not be a third book. It is a duology. And in the acknowledgments on this book, and in the I think it's the acknowledgments in this book, and then also on Twitter, John has pretty openly stated there's room to do more. There's room in the universe to do more, but they've only planned out these 2 books. And that's really sad, because John is just an expert at this, and he did so well. And I was talking with one of my friends online, and we were basically saying they could announce 3 more books, and I'd be here for all of them. Heck, I'd be here for any John Jackson Miller book. He could go to whatever franchise, even a franchise that I did not enjoy or have never heard of or never played or never watched. And if he announces a new book, I'm going to be there, because he time and again has proven to be a consistent, amazing media tie-in writer who elevates everything, not just telling an entertaining story, not just adding backstory or adding character depth, but really adding depth to the themes and the ideas of the universe. And he's just brilliant at that here. So I hope he gets more books, whether it's in this franchise or in another franchise. I hope he gets more books soon, and I hope they announce them soon. But Batman Revolution was an absolute delight. I think because of how amazing the character of the Riddler was, I think I liked it better than Batman Resurrection. I loved Batman Resurrection, the villain. And of course, I'm working so hard not to spoil it because it was such a good villain too. But I think, by the way, the villain in Batman Resurrection, my favorite use of this villain so far that I've ever seen in anything. But I loved the character journey of Norman Plinkett. And of course, I haven't talked much about like Batman and Alfred. You know, they're present, and Alfred is Alfred pretends to be an anarchist at one point in the book. Hilarious. When Alfred pretends to be an anarchist. I love that scene. It was genius. But yeah, this book is just so good. So I'm going to give like a 9.5 out of 10, whereas I gave the first one like a 9.3. Like, it's John Jackson Miller at his best. He knows he's good at this, and he's doing a great job with it. So if you've read Batman Revolution, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And please comment, and also tell me what other books you'd love to see John tackle next, what other franchises. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.